Yeah.
Okay, we are live. Okay, let me just share that screen so that they can see this when they come in. Okay. Present.
Can I join watch party? Like,
yeah, you could. You could have a watch party.
So if I think I join a watch party, it'll show up on my stream.
Yeah.
I wonder how I do that.
Okay, now I'm gonna put some brand stuff, right? And I'm going to put some banners.
How do I join a watch party?
Okay, I'll do this. Okay, so let's see. How many people are here? Maybe we're a little bit early, so it's okay. So we'll just wait for people to arrive. So how has it been for you over there? I know it's late.
I had like 2 sandwiches, so now I'm on coffee just to stay up.
Okay.
Which is
I'm so sorry you have to stay up.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's just because I had 2. I overate.
Okay.
Today. So it has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
So I'm running on fumes right now.
Okay. Is that considered a light dinner or is that considered a heavy?
Oh no, it was a heavy. I had went to Wendy's. I mean, these are fast food over here in America.
I think we have Wendy's over here too.
But Wendy's. So we had Wendy's. So I spent $10 on Wendy's. It was like a small sandwich too. So I wasn't like when you eat, but it's not like very filling.
Yeah.
Or very full. So after that, I then went to Popeyes to get a chicken sandwich.
Okay.
The whole Popeyes Chick-fil-A sandwich wars.
Yeah.
So that's what made me full.
I thought you made a sandwich.
Not today. Yeah. Okay. Can't cook every night.
Okay. Because when you say sandwich, I kind of thought that was the sandwich.
No.
Do you hear an echo?
I don't hear an echo.
Okay. Okay. So let's see who's here. Hi, Q Hong. Glad you're here. Yeah, she's my friend. Big supporter. Every time I have my Facebook Live, she'll turn up.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone's got their fandom.
Yeah. So yeah, she's here, and I think a couple of people will be joining us and all that. So let's see. Are we on the dot? We're 2 minutes. We're 2 more minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
2 more minutes. So we still wait for people.
How do I join like a watch party?
You can go to my page.
Okay.
And then you click there, join watch party or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hi, Q Hong. How is it? Have you started work yet today? I don't know whether she's listening to me, but are you starting work today? Are your staff back in the office? Or because I saw a picture that my friend posted that people are going back to work. This is in our capital city in KL. That it's super jam. The cars are on the road, chock-a-block. So it's probably going to be quite a havoc in terms of people and crowds and all that. So where you are in Maryland, right?
Yeah, I'm over here in Maryland. 15 minutes, 20 minutes outside of the nation's capital, where
the stuff happens.
Where stuff happens.
Yes, and that's pretty near. 20 minutes.
Well, 20 minutes without traffic.
Okay.
Like right now, because no one's driving, it'll take me 20 minutes to get to where stuff happens.
I see.
But when this didn't go down, probably an hour.
Okay.
So
do you head into the what we technically call the city often? I mean, do you go in there all the time? Or no?
Not as much nowadays. I guess as I get older, more like the suburban life. So, but I prefer to like go out west into Virginia, where there's a lot of hiking and outdoor stuff.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it's like over in Penang. It's mostly city in Penang.
Penang is mostly city. It's very urban.
Beach, like 10 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, we have beaches, but our beaches are not that. I would say not that fantastic. Not as fantastic as the ones in Thailand. Yeah. So hi, Layong. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in to learn from Dean. Yeah. Okay, she's another one of my friends.
Yeah, if you guys, I guess we'll do the Q&A after or towards it.
But if you guys have any questions, you can type it in the comment box, and Dean will, in between our chat conversation, we will look into it and we will definitely answer your questions. So anything to do with paid advertising, online advertising, that's where his area of expertise is. Okay. So
yeah, I'll try and multitask.
Yeah, multitask. Okay. So I think we should start. We should be really punctual. Okay. So welcome everyone. Everyone who's here and everyone who's going to join us later. Today is a very special episode. It's our episode 3. A very special episode because Dean just told me that he is actually the first guy interviewee that I have after all the women, the 2 women that I had.
Well, yeah, what's up with that?
What's up with that? Well, this gender thing, right? So anyway, why we decided to do this is because I thought what Dean has to share with us is something that will be useful for all of us who are in business right now, small business, big business, whatever business you are in. So this is something which to me has a lot of value. And I think both of us enjoy adding value to people's lives and sharing the value that we have with others. So it's going to be very educational today. So let's get started. Shall I introduce Dean? Okay.
Let's go.
He doesn't know. He actually doesn't know that I'm going to introduce him this way. So let me just put this back to the double screen. Okay. Once upon a time.
Oh God. In a galaxy far, far away.
Before Facebook, before LinkedIn, before Meetup, there was Rise. It was the first online networking site for business professionals. That was where I met Dean. It was, I think, about 2004 or 2005. And wow. We have been friends ever since. Can you imagine? We have been friends that long. Back then, he was also hosting a monthly business networking mixers for Rise in his DC area. And each mixer attracted some 30 to 50 attendees. And his events were in the top 5 in the participants' attendance out of 25 regions. Wow, I didn't know that either until I did this research on you. This tells you a bit about his networking abilities. So who is Dean and what does he do? He is a graduate of the University of Maryland and a lifelong Washingtonian. He loves to cook and takes long walks on the beach. He also loves skiing and winter vacations. Correct?
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
Okay. So I did my research well. But Dean is also a pay-per-click marketing consultant running his own business called Saatchi Studio in Rockwell, Maryland. He has 10 years of digital marketing experience with 5 years in paid search and has managed more than $1 million in ad spend. Dean focuses on lead generation for businesses, particularly Google AdWords and Facebook ads. He works with dentists, chiropractors, cryotherapy, landscaping companies, and legal firms in the US. Despite his strong data analysis, he's not an ostrich with his head buried in Excel spreadsheets all day long. He likes interacting with his clients and helping them understand how an amazing paid search lead generation strategy will produce better results. So Dean, let's get right into it. Let's start with the definition. What's paid advertising? And why should business owners get excited about it, especially now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So paid advertising, AKA paid media, AKA pay-per-click advertising. It's different from earned media, where earned media is something it doesn't cost you money to advertise. So examples of paid advertising platforms are Google advertising, LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. Those are paid advertising channels. Your second question, which was why should business owners be excited about? Right now?
At this point in time? Yeah, right now.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why I'm excited about it.
Okay.
So obviously, there's a lot of businesses struggling right now. Let's, first acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And, if you're one of those business owners who are struggling right now, my first piece of advice is do whatever you have to do to survive and to pay the rent. But outside of that, if you're in a position where you can afford to advertise, then you should. Because the reason why I'm bullish on it is that, number one, and I told my clients this, half your competition, they're not advertising right now. They're on a defensive. They're trying to cut back. Every time we head into a recession, and I started this back in 2008, 2009 with the global recession. Whenever we head into a recession, a business owner's first instinct is to cut back on expenses, and rightfully so. But sometimes we're too much on the defensive, and we need to go on the offensive. So, number one, half your competition isn't advertising right now, so that's a big opportunity for you to get ahead of your competition. Number two, what I'm seeing right now over the last 4 to 6 weeks across all of the major platforms is that it's a lot cheaper to actually advertise right now. Partly because, half the competition isn't advertising. So the cost per click to advertise on Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, cost is down across every major industry, every platform. So between your competition not advertising and cost going down, that's a major opportunity. Number three, and what a lot of people don't consider right now, is that because everyone's stuck at home with the quarantine, you have a very captive audience right now. So you have people who have nothing better to do than to go on Facebook or YouTube, whatever. They're consuming a lot of content. And as they're consuming content, they're being exposed to a lot of ads as well. So right now we're looking at a perfect storm of opportunities right now for certain small businesses who want to take advantage of that.
Okay. But because there's so many types of ads out there, right? So many places that you can advertise. If one were to start, what would be a good place to start, a good platform, or what kinds of criteria would they be looking into if I wanted to just say start advertising right now? Based on I trust you, Dean. You told me, yes, I'm convinced I should do it.
Sure.
How?
So I think this is where I hate to give really vague answers because it's such a vague question, but yeah. I'll give sort of a vague answer right now, and then I guess towards the latter part of the session we'll do the Q&A where people have really specific questions. So right now I'm looking at the big three platforms: Google, Facebook, and YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube being owned by Google.
Yeah.
I think this becomes a question of whether or not or where your audience is hanging out. Generally speaking, Google advertising are for businesses who are trying to tap into bottom of the funnel situations where someone's ready to buy now. So for example, they're looking for a carpet cleaning company right now, or they're looking for an optometrist office right now. So I would say Google for bottom of the funnel. Facebook can be a little bit of both, but generally speaking, Facebook is more disruptive advertising where, just like a TV commercial, it's what we call push advertising. You're getting your ads in front of people when they're streaming or when they're browsing through their stream on Facebook. Really, it just depends on the business. Depending on the business, they might be better for Google, they might be better for Facebook. And what I like to tell people right now is actually a lot of people are sleeping on YouTube. YouTube is really a great opportunity right now because the cost per view on YouTube is a heck of a lot cheaper with respect to video ads. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than Facebook advertising right now. If you do it right, you can get cost per views as little as 1 or 2 cents per view. Obviously, that's just a view. That's not necessarily a conversion or someone calling you up
Yeah.
But if you run the ads correctly with the correct target audience, I've seen really, really dirt cheap leads with YouTube. Obviously, the biggest downside to YouTube is you do have to have good video production. And for a lot of small businesses, that can be out of their budget. But there are ways to kind of, I guess, run some, do it at home hacks, if you will, to run some pretty effective videos. In fact, I have a client right now. They're acupuncture college,
Okay.
where initially we were expecting their video team to do some video production for us, and then once they do the video production, we could then run the ads on YouTube. But unfortunately, because their staff is stuck at home, they can't get to the campus. The burden now falls on me to run some really quick and dirty 30-second videos. So actually, just before I, hopped on a session with you, I was up all night trying to do a video ad for the acupuncture college. So there's some, and by the way, I'm someone who doesn't have like really good video editing skills, but with the technology that's out there today, if you know where to look, you can do it yourself.
Okay. So it means that if you're going to do a YouTube ad, you probably need to have some help if you're not really into doing your own videos, but at least you have something that you can do on your own, even if it's not really polished, you can still get your ad seen,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Because people have to watch it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen some ads that aren't like very polished, like you would
Yeah.
with Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
But they do really, really well. I think, generally speaking, authenticity and execution matters than anything else. Not to say that your ads need to be crap in terms of content or quality, but if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you can definitely produce some pretty good video ads by yourself, especially with the technology that exists today where it didn't exist 5 years ago.
Okay. Is Matt Mullen your friend? Matt Mullen?
Well, that name sounds familiar, but no, I don't think he is.
Okay. He's asking a really strange question. Can you see?
No. We get all types on Facebook. It's the internet.
Yeah. Okay. So you told us that Google, Facebook, and YouTube ads, depending on what kinds of, I would say, where in the funnel that they are, right? Facebook is more disruptive, whereas Google is more like they're ready to get going and buying.
Correct.
YouTube, you need video production.
Yeah.
Or some sort of video production or some sort of skills to put it together. Okay, so let's get into specifics. Let's talk about a specific business. Perhaps then maybe it's easier to give an example. Maybe just say,
Sure.
Okay, let's say a business that deals with training. They provide training services. So just say that business owner says, okay, I'm in training services. Where should I go? I know that, of course, I want people to know about me as an awareness. And I also want people to perhaps contact me or get some form of contact going on. So how should that person or how should that business owner go about it? So they train on leadership, just say they train on leadership.
So leadership training.
Yes.
So when you say leadership training, I'm thinking like executives, CEOs, managers, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be out of the 3 platforms, actually 4. I'm thinking of LinkedIn as well. It could be 1 or 4 different platforms. You could do Google advertising, for example, bidding on keywords such as leadership training or executive coaching or executive training. Okay. So that's one route. That's an example if you were to advertise on Google.
Yeah.
If you advertise on Facebook, you'd probably target people with the job title of CEO.
Okay.
Or C-suite managers or executive level managers.
Okay.
A lot of people would target LinkedIn as well. If you have the budget, LinkedIn tends to be a little bit more expensive in terms of advertising. But that's a really good audience right there because it's purely business platform. But between LinkedIn and Facebook, it then becomes a question of whether or not you want to do video or just typical image and text ads. So I could definitely make a case for all three platforms for leadership training. I wouldn't dismiss YouTube either, because believe it or not, executives do actually watch YouTube. People find that hard to believe, like, oh, business people actually watch YouTube. It's not just for like kids, but a lot of people watch YouTube on all sorts of stuff. Like if you go to YouTube, people do a search for executive training, how to train, like how to manager training, how-tos. So you could bet on keywords like that. So in terms of like big picture, I could make a case for all four platforms.
Okay.
So I think it's more a matter of like the nitty gritty. With Facebook and LinkedIn and probably YouTube, you'd need like a good lead magnet. Okay. So a typical play would be, maybe you have, this sounds so cliche, but I've seen it done all over and over. Download, our white paper or ebook on executive training. I'm just giving an idea. So download the ebook, give us your email address, and then once they opt in with their email address, you can then target them with additional content. So that's a real basic level strategy right there. Okay.
So we were talking about leadership training, which is something which is service-based.
Okay.
What about if it's a product? If it's selling a specific product, just say, e-commerce. Maybe you're selling certain products, like children's toys, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah. So would that be a different strategy altogether? Because would you still need a lead magnet for that?
I don't think you necessarily need a lead magnet. You can just easily target. So again, I can make a case for three platforms in this case: Google Shopping, okay. Or Google Search Ads for XYZ toys.
Okay.
Facebook. Okay.
Facebook as in awareness, just showing
no.
up. Like
so it depends on the toy, but if you have a more specific example, let's say it's a toy aimed at babies.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You could target parents within a certain age, parents of newborn babies. Okay. So that's a real basic targeting strategy on Facebook. And you could do the same thing on YouTube. You could target demographics like 25 to 45-year-old. I don't think you can target parents of newborns. In fact, no, I know you can't. But you can target people who visit certain websites. Okay. And then run video ads against that target audience. So again, I could make a case for all three platforms being a viable option. I think, at the end of the day, having done this for 6 years, I would say it comes down to budget.
Okay.
Right? Because whenever you deal with small business, you're always dealing with a budget, a finite budget.
Yes.
You're dealing with time horizon. How much time do they have to see the advertising strategy through? And resources, like, do you have a video team? If you don't have a video team, do you have a budget to hire a video team? If you don't have a budget to hire a video team, then let's not focus on YouTube, but let's focus on either Google or Facebook. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So in a case that right now we're talking about, because you do all your work, right, in the US, and all the marketing budget, of course, is in US dollars.
Yeah.
So what is a typical, can I ask this question? What is a typical budget that someone wants to work with you? Okay, I want to work with Dean of Sachi Studio. So what kind of typical budget are we looking at, or how do they come in? Is it by 6 months, 3 months, even a year? Is it a contractual?
So for me, I'd say 90% of my clients are not contractual.
Okay.
It's month to month. In fact, when I first started, I made the decision to not work on a contract as a way to kind of stand out and to win over more business.
Okay.
That aside, how long? Well, it depends on the business. So, for example, if it's a local business where they just need leads, generally speaking, with most local businesses, it takes a couple months. Even though I'm on a month-to-month contract, I tell the business owner, hey, listen, even though we're month-to-month, you probably want to give it 2 or 3 months to try see results.
That's like the minimum, right? Is it to see results?
That's the maximum.
Okay.
Because I'm a firm believer that, if you're doing paid advertising, you need to see results pretty quickly. And that's what I like about paid ads versus all the other marketing channels, because especially right now, take a look at all the other marketing channels.
Yeah.
What is the one channel where you can get started right now and get results right now, right?
Okay.
So if you look at the other marketing channels, SEO, nobody wants to wait 3, 6, 9 months to see results. Email marketing, well, you need an email list. And if you don't have an email list, you can't do email marketing.
Yeah.
Content marketing, okay, well, you got to write content. A lot of people don't like to write content, even if you do like writing.
Even in the US.
I hate writing content. I'm working on a 3,000 word article right now.
Okay.
Even in the US, even in Russia or China, it doesn't matter. Everyone hates writing, except for you, Krista. You love writing. No, but so content marketing. So even if you like writing content, it still takes a while to get that content to rank properly.
Okay.
Face-to-face, no one can do face-to-face right now because we're all quarantined. Nobody wants to catch, what you may have.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really bullish on paid advertising right now, because it's the only channel that I can think of where you can get immediate results without having to spend a lot of time building up your digital assets, like building up 2,000 likes on your or 2,000 followers on your Instagram, 3,000 connections on your LinkedIn, 5,000 emails on your newsletter, and so on and so forth. Paid advertising, you can bypass all of that and just get straight to advertising.
Okay.
But going back to your question about budget. Yeah. So I get asked that all the time, and it just really depends on the business. For example, lawyers, you may need $2,000 or $3,000 per month, US dollars, $2,000 or $3,000 US dollars per month to get started. Whereas physical therapists could get away with $500 US dollars per month. Every industry is different because the cost per click is a lot higher in certain industries, a lot more competitive. But generally, what I tell prospective clients is that when you hire a paid advertising consultant like myself, or an agency, we should only cost you somewhere between 10 to 30% of the overall sales that we bring in. So, for example, if I can project that I'm going to bring in like $100,000 in revenue for you through paid advertising, then I should only cost somewhere between 10 to 30% of that revenue value. So if I can bring in, if I can project to bring in $100,000, then my cost to you is somewhere between $10,000 to $30,000 per year. Okay. So when I paint it in that perspective, that sounds pretty cheap, right? Like who wouldn't want that? So even though clients always ask, well, how much do you cost? I reverse it. I mean, I eventually do tell them, but I try to reverse their thinking and get them to think in terms of ROI rather than cost, because everyone's looking at cost, but what you need to look at is investment. How much of a return on investment can I produce for you? And I've worked across so many different industries at this point, having been in this for 10 years, that I have a decent idea of what I can or cannot do at this point for certain types of clients.
Okay. So we actually have a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull this up. So let me,
Who's got the question?
yeah. So this is a question from Grace Ann.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. So she's asked, how about music teaching studio? Is it a good time to pay for FB ads or Google ads? And since we are not able to have face-to-face classes until further notice.
That's a great question. So, first of all, Grace, definitely, I can certainly empathize with businesses like you who you can't do face-to-face stuff. I had a lot of clients who they had to pause advertising and shut down their business because they can't do face-to-face.
Yeah.
So, my heart goes out to you. If you can't do face-to-face classes with a music teaching studio and you can't virtualize it, then you shouldn't pay for any form of advertising. If you can virtualize your service, meaning that you can do it via video or something, and you feel like you can be, and she may have to like chime in with additional details, but if you feel like you can profit from like a virtual model, then you may want to consider virtual advertising, or you may want to consider paid advertising.
Okay. So just say if she has virtual classes, does she start with Facebook first or Google Ads first? I think it's like, or she starts with both.
So in an ideal world, both, but we don't live in an ideal world. Like I said, every business,
finite resources, right?
Yeah, finite resources. Let me answer it like this. I'll give you the pros and cons.
Okay.
So Grace, if you're, and I suspect I know the answer, but if there's people searching for what you offer on Google, you probably want to start with Google first. Okay, so if someone's doing a search for music teacher or music teaching studio,
let's say piano. She offers piano classes.
Okay, just piano.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Grace?
so they're definitely going to Google for that because I know there's a demand for that. So you could definitely do Google, but at the same time you could do Facebook too. But it requires a bit more, a little bit more production work in terms of creatives. So maybe you
mean for FB?
For FB, for Facebook, maybe run a 30-second promo video of you teaching your students online and how that's going. Maybe get some testimonials into that video as well. It doesn't have to be video. If you don't know how to do video, then you can just do image and text ads. And then you would target who's our audience, like kids?
Should be kids, because she just mentioned here that she does piano, guitar, violin, and vocals.
Okay, so I'm assuming probably kids, but parents are paying for it.
Yeah.
So in that case, your targeting strategy on Facebook would be parents within a certain age, 30 to 50, and probably parents of teenagers, I suspect. So that's where you would start.
Okay. So we hope that answers your question, Grace. Because she also mentioned, I think follow up to that comment, she mentioned that we have some online classes. But is it the right time to promote what we do for future potential clients? Yeah, that's her follow-up question to that. Yeah. It's always the right time to promote, right?
But is there a right time to promote what we do for future? Okay, so here's what I'm seeing with a lot of businesses right now and how they're taking advantage of the current downtime. I count on at least one hand right now the number of people I know who just started their own YouTube or podcasts, including, I'm looking at you as well, Krista.
Yes. Thank you for the little teaser that you've added to this
video. That's the content marketing right there. People are trying to position this, like if they don't have the money right now for, because things are tight, they're trying to position themselves for 3, 6, 12 months down the road when things are normal, if you will. So to Grace's question, is now the right time to promote for the future? Yes. How you do is not a question. I'd focus on creating content. So for example, if you're doing virtual classes right now, Grace, via Zoom or what have you, record those sessions. Maybe get a few testimonials from your existing students about how great of a teacher you are. And then once you have enough testimonial content, you could then incorporate that into your advertising down the road. So build the foundation first, the foundational content right now. So that way, when you are ready to start paying for your advertising, you're in a far better position, because it's always difficult having a conversation with prospective clients where I feel like I can do a really good job advertising their business, but when I take a look at their content, it's so minimal that it would take us months to produce the right content to get them ramped up on certain platforms such as Facebook or YouTube. Google's a little bit easier because you don't necessarily need to rely on video content or content in general. It's just a couple lines of text. But if you're trying to advertise on Facebook or YouTube, it's more creative intensive.
Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Grace. I think Dean has given quite the, how should I say, kind of like a step-by-step too, right? You're telling her like how she needs to do certain things. So I think that for people in services, I think that's the big question mark, is how do they do it? Because if you have a product, it's so much easier to run ads because you can just focus on the specific product that you have. But if you don't, that's where the intangible part comes in, right? Like you can't really touch whatever that you're offering. Okay, let's jump to another question which I have for you. It's like, what are some of the mistakes that business owners make when they're engaged in online advertising?
That's a great question. So let's stick to the Facebook example.
Okay.
I could think of a couple.
Okay.
Number one, people have really poor creatives.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, again, let's just stick with local business.
Yeah.
A lot of people, for whatever reason, they rely heavily on stock images as like the image ad.
Yeah.
And those perform really poorly 90% of the time.
Okay.
What I would tell people is use real authentic images. So for example, if you run a medical practice, let's say your dental office or chiropractor or what have you, no one wants to see like a stock photo of a woman, of a female model with like, perfect teeth. They'd rather see like real images of the doctor working with patients, and then a backstory to the advertising. So the first mistake I see a lot of people make is they rely very heavily on stock photos. Every time I do an audit on someone's Facebook ad, that's the first thing I always see is like, they ask me, Dean, why is my advertising not working? Well, first of all, don't use stock photos, like use real images. That's number one. Number two, they don't have enough creatives.
Okay.
So again, most people only do 1 or 2 ads.
Okay.
And that's their entire strategy, where you need to do 3, 4, 5 different ads to see what works or what doesn't work. Do you guys have Geico Insurance over there? Or do you know who Geico Insurance is?
I know about Geico Insurance because I hear it all the time on podcasts. But maybe for them they don't, but yeah.
So I tell people to use the Geico Insurance model, where Geico advertises everything but insurance. Like if you look at their creatives, it's like really funny stuff.
Okay.
And if you've seen the videos, right, like it's just people doing really weird stuff. And then at the end you realize, oh, they're actually about insurance.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So no one's ever sat there and said Geico has really crappy commercials ever. They're funny, they're personable, they're authentic. And there's so many of them. They produce a lot of videos or a lot of ads each and every single year. So that my advice to business owners is you need to produce a lot of different ad creatives and see what works or what doesn't work. And I say this as a marketer too, like as marketers, we like to think we know what works. Yeah. And sometimes we do, but a lot of times we don't either. That's why we're throwing a lot of stuff out there and we're trying
And
to
see what
test.
sticks.
We're trying to
see
see
what
what sticks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we always, we sometimes we think we know, but we don't always know as well.
Okay.
And then I think the other part is like for businesses that have like an expensive service,
Okay.
where it takes people a couple weeks or longer to decide whether or not they want to, hire you. So this could be divorce attorney, plastic surgeon, dental implants, buying a home, which takes 6 or 12 months on the road.
Yeah.
What I see with a lot of people is that they only advertise with the idea that they think they can convert this customer on one touch point. When you really can't. Like even the best, like if you were to hire me and I did the best job I could, I can only still convert just a small portion of the overall traffic, and hopefully enough to make you money and to justify you paying me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money left on the table when you're not advertising beyond the first touch point. So let's just use real estate agents as an example because everyone understands how realtors operate. So, a real estate agent is probably selling the most expensive investment most of us can make in our lifetime, which is a home, right?
Yes.
When you're running advertising, when you're a real estate agent and you're running ads, to your target market, you need to be running ads with the idea that it's going to take you a while to convert some of these prospects. Okay. So let's say, for example, like a really common funnel strategy for real estate agents is that they'll bid on certain keywords like Penang homes for sale.
Okay.
So someone does a search for Penang homes for sale. They see your website. They want to see the homes for sale, so they have to opt into the website and give you their email address and phone number. So now that they've opted in, you as a real estate agent, you have their phone number and contact information. You want to build a funnel that will nurture those leads until they're ready to buy 3, 6, 12 months down the road. Okay. So this may require 10, 20 touch points to nurture these leads until they're ready. And you may sit here and say, well, Dean, that's a lot of work. You're right. That is a lot of work. But that's what it takes to succeed online and to stand out from the crowd. You can sit there and be one of those real estate agents that would just run like 1 or 2 ads and do two touch points, but you won't convert that prospect.
And you probably would have wasted all your money.
Right? You wasted all your money. Because if you believe in the concept that we do business with those we know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
So my job as an advertising consultant is to generate enough awareness that they know you, but your job through the funnel is to get them to like you and trust you. So you'll probably have to, if you're a real estate agent, you have to do text messaging, email, probably follow up with a couple of phone calls as well. Okay, over the course of that prospect's until they're ready to buy, which could be 6 months down the road or 12 months down the road. Now, thankfully, most businesses don't fall into that category. Most businesses, it only takes you several weeks to convert someone. But in that case, you still need to advertise and throw out multiple ad creatives until they're ready. So, for example, at dental practice, you may run Google ads, bidding on keywords like, dental office near me, where somebody clicks on the ad, they go to your website. Let's say 5 to 10% convert. That means 90% don't convert. You then run remarketing strategies on Facebook to that 90%, and then you may convert another, 5, 10 more people of that 90%. Running remarketing strategies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really like a direct path to the sale. You're making it much easier for them, but you still, as a business owner, you still need to do the work. You still need to be able to get them to know you, like you, and trust you, right?
yeah. And that takes time.
Yeah.
But guess what, guys? We have a lot of time right now. Everyone's stuck at home. A lot of people have a lot of downtime. And this is what I was telling Grace, like, take the time right now to build out your content. Think about how many touch points do you need to convert that prospect. So going back to Grace's situation of the music studio, maybe she needs 4 touch points. Okay, so the first touch point could be the Google ads. Okay, so now you need 3 more touch points. So what type
Do
of
it still need to be Google ads, or does it have to be Google all the way, or does it have to be like can we mix and match?
It could be mixed. It could be cross-platform, and it should be, because we all hang out across multiple platforms.
Yeah. Okay.
So it could initially be Google, but then it'll transition to like Facebook. So think about like what type of content pieces do you need for that second, third, and fourth touch point. Okay, and if you do it right, it shouldn't cost you that much to make your money back and to make the extra client. Like I had a client that did brewery tours in Texas.
Okay.
So for example, and he catered to like people from out of town who would visit Austin, Texas. So people would do a search for like Austin, Texas brewery tours, where he would take them on a bus. He would take them to like 3 different breweries within Austin. So I had him for like a year, and we only converted about 5-10% of traffic. So for every 100 visitors who came in, only 5 to 10% became customers. But then once we implemented a Facebook remarketing strategy, we were 3 months into the strategy before the pandemic occurred, and we were getting about a 700% return on investment on Facebook remarketing.
Wow.
Yeah, so for every $100 he invested into Facebook, he was making back $700.
Wow, that's a pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
but does it depend on the price point? I mean, like what this client was offering, does it depend on the price point? Is it a price point thing also that affected the success of the remarketing?
Oh yeah, I mean, everything's about price point, especially when you're dealing with paid advertising. Like, if you're running really cheap services, obviously the return on investment will be lower.
Yeah.
But
what was the price point on his services?
He was charging on average $80
per person.
Okay. And because usually people go in like 2 pairs minimum,
right? Couples. Right?
Yeah, so it's $160 for a purchase. Oh, okay. And it's actually a lot higher than that, because he catered towards like bachelor parties, corporate tours, birthdays, so like really big groups as well.
Okay.
So the ticket price will go up. In fact, I'm pretty sure that had the pandemic not occurred, the return on investment will be a lot higher, because we were heading into prime season with bachelor and bachelorette parties. Okay. But we had a lot of cancellations, which affected ROI.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. But if a guy like him, I mean, his service is only $80 per person. If he can do it off of remarketing, I have to imagine like someone who charges professional services like home remodeling, dental implants, lawyers, which are in the thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it as well.
Oh, that's good. So coming back to it, we were talking about 3 mistakes. One was you have to use real images.
Yeah.
Your own images, right? Not just stock photos, not just photos that people have seen out there somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to run multiple ads. And you mentioned about Geico, which is supposed to be funny. It's very hard to do funny, but personal, yes. Personal authentic, yes, it's easy to do, but funny is really hard. Humor is a really hard thing. And yeah, and the third one, I was about to jot it down when we veered off into talking about the examples. So the third one was, what was it?
Frequency?
Yeah.
Is it frequency? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, remarketing frequency. You have to be consistent. A lot of people give up really easily. And then they ask me, Dean, why does my ad strategy not work? People just aren't consistent. Yeah. And you have to be reasonable. And this goes back to like touch points. Like, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
If you're a professional service, it's unreasonable to think that you can convert someone on the first touch point. Yeah. Right? It's unreasonable to think that. You have to believe that it's going to take you multiple touch points. Yeah. So if it's going to take you multiple touch points, what is your funnel? What is your strategy to cover multiple touch points until they're ready?
Yeah. And I think it's the same for us too. When we design websites, I think one of the things we tell people is that the website can help you, but you've got to help yourself too. You've got to know what you have to do once someone contacts you, once someone fills up or decides to get in touch with you, messages you and all that. So you need to take that process further. And I think a lot of people just expect a direct sale. It's okay, I guess, if it's a direct sale, if you're selling stuff, products. But sometimes with services, it's you can't see what you're buying until it has been totally delivered to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you're selling a service, like you and I sell a service.
Yeah.
We have to take the advertising to the next level and think about like, what type of ads and content do I need to deliver to make them trust me or to get them to trust me? So you really
basically we're building trust, right? We're building trust.
You're trying to build trust.
Yeah.
And so that takes a lot of understanding about consumer psychology. I'll give you another example. I just got hired on to work with a divorce attorney.
Here we call it divorce lawyer.
Divorce lawyer?
Yeah.
They also call it family law because it sounds friendlier than divorce. Yeah. Because when you think of divorce,
it's negative, right?
Yeah, it's very negative. So they call themselves a family attorney. So obviously, they can't go out and do face-to-face networking to get clients. Everything has to be done online right now. Yeah. So they hired me. Mm-hmm. So what we're working on right now is a webinar, whereby, and this is going to go on Facebook. Mm-hmm. The webinar will talk about how to deal with divorce. And how
is it a free webinar? Is it a free webinar?
It's a free webinar. So it's a top of the funnel strategy where we want to get them to opt into the 1 hour webinar.
Okay.
Where the attorney will talk about your finances, kids, custody, stress, mental, emotional, everything.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the webinar, they'll talk about their services as well.
Okay.
And what type of consulting that they do. So it's a top of the level. It's a top of the funnel ad strategy, where we're creating a webinar, get people to register for the webinar, and it's going to become a numbers game. Where at that point, after they're done watching the webinar, some of them will convert into actual patients or into actual customers or clients. So I learned a lot about we're just getting started, but I learned a lot about divorce attorneys working with this client because most people look at divorce in a very negative light, as you should.
Yeah.
But one of the things I understood about having worked with this attorney is that a lot of people look at divorce as like, oh, if I get divorced, I'm a loser. Okay. I'm a loser. I'm going to lose face to my friends and family. It's an embarrassing situation. So we have to tap into all of these psychologies and use that when we're doing our copywriting, and address that in the actual webinar itself as well. Because once the attorney can address that in their webinar, it lowers the barriers that someone is having with hiring a divorce attorney. Because no one really wants to admit that they need to hire a divorce attorney, because hiring a divorce attorney basically admits failure, that you failed at your marriage. So because I understand this psychology, working with the attorney, we can then use that as part of our ad creatives when we're doing copy and when we're doing the landing page. So that was really fast. I don't know why I talked about that with you, but that was a really fascinating client that we just signed on right now.
Okay. We have another question. So let me just pull it up. Is it advisable to combine online and offline, out-of-home advertising, billboard, digital signage advertising?
Yeah. Cross-platform advertising is always advisable. I think it comes down to, again, resources. Like if you have the money to do billboards and digital signage, I say go for it. I think the bigger question is, can you track, customers coming from your billboards or digital signage? That's sort of the bigger issue, Lai Yong. What I like about Google, Facebook, and YouTube, and LinkedIn is that I can track everything. So as soon as I get started with a client and we start implementing ad strategies, we know real quickly within a matter of days what's working or what's not working. If something isn't working, we'll fix that or we'll turn to some other strategy. Whereas with like billboards and digital signage, it could take a while for you to figure out what's working and what's not working. Like direct mail, for example, you can certainly do direct mail each and every single month, but unless you know how to track direct mail, how do you know what's working or what's not working?
Okay.
So make sure you can track your advertising.
Okay. So the basis of it is that you need to be able to track if your advertising is working or not, right? And to those doing digital, I would say doing digital ads, online ads, it's easier to see. And if it's not working, you can quickly tweak it, would I say? Would you fine tune how it's working or try another tack?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I fell in love with paid advertising like 6 years ago. Because before that, I did a little bit of all types of digital marketing, from SEO. I've done web development, as you know. I've done content writing. But as soon as I discovered paid advertising, and I realized that I was pretty decent at it, I'm like, wow, this is great, because you can track everything, and I can report to my client each and every single month as to what we're doing or what's working or what's not working, and fix it accordingly.
Okay. So we have another 8 minutes or so. I want to ask, and actually I have a bunch of questions to ask, but we're having such good conversations, I know. Okay. Does this even go into, let's see, what's your advice for business owners who want to get more visible online now, but they can't afford any money for advertising?
Yeah. Great question.
That should be a final question.
So I look at marketing as a spectrum.
Yeah.
So on one end of the spectrum, you have time, and on the other end of the spectrum, you have money.
Yeah.
So whenever you're engaging in marketing, you're either going to spend more time or more money, or both, depending.
Yeah.
If you're money poor, then you have to spend more time on, using your time. So right now you have all the time in the world. So do whatever it takes to create that foundational content. This could be, again, it just depends on the type of business you're in. It could be, content about your operations. Like, for example, if you're a restaurant, people love to see footage about what's going on within the kitchen. or what recipes you're making, how you're serving customers right now.
Is it like a reality show kind of content?
I hate to call it a reality show because
Yeah.
a lot of people have, including yours truly, we have a negative connotation of reality shows where when we think of reality shows, we think of drama.
Okay.
Well, which is true.
Yeah.
But I think there is some truth to it because the other parts of your reality show is documentation. And I think people are really fascinated with documentaries about anything and everything.
Okay.
Like if you go to YouTube right now, there are documentaries on digital nomads, on people running a blog, on people running, on people trying to retire early by by the age of 40. So yeah, I think there's some reality to it because when you think of reality isn't perfect. And now there's running a business. And I think a lot of people, they're really fascinated by seeing the imperfections of someone's business.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing everything as like Instagram perfect, right?
So create content.
Create content. Create lots and lots of content. Like
in all forms, videos.
Well, so I would reverse engineer it. So again, think about your end customer. Think about how many touch points do you need to convert that customer. Think about, once you figure that out, the second question is, what type of content do they need to see to be converted?
Okay.
So if you're a real estate agent, your content would be like 5 ways to improve the curb appeal of your home, or 10 ways to have a successful open house. If you're a dental office, it could be the before and after of someone who had dental implants or had braces. If you're a leg doctor, it could be, the pain that this patient had before visiting you and the success they had after operation. Right? Yeah. So think about that type of content. If you have to, and it's really easy to figure this out. It's not that hard. Like go to YouTube, do a search for some of your competitors all across the country or across the state. See what sort of views are really high for certain types of video content, and just copy that content.
Okay. I like how you reverse engineer it, because I think that's what a lot of maybe business owners don't think about. When they think about their customers or their clients, they think about, okay, how do I connect with them? How do I get them? How do I get the prospects first? Yeah. But instead of doing that, they should just work backwards and say, okay, what are the kinds of things that would be attractive, or even look at what your competitors are doing, or what's the most popular stuff out there in your industry that's working, and emulate and work with those things that's already there. Would you actually encourage people to go and talk to their customers and ask them hey, what do you want to see, if you really have no idea?
I mean, you can certainly do that, but sometimes customers don't always know. So the thing about marketing is that it's sort of a copycat business. Like once marketers, I think I told you this, marketers ruin everything. I read that from Gary Vaynerchuk. We ruin everything. As soon as we find out something that works, we would do it over and over and over and over again until it's broken. It's a copycat business.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to, you can ask your customers. Nothing's stopping you. But I would just go to YouTube, do a search for what your competition's doing, see what's successful, and just emulate that. And emulate that in either video format or, in words. Just depends. Yeah.
So thank you. That was actually a very interesting. We started off wanting to talk about so many things, but I didn't get to all my questions. Maybe we could have you back the next round. But then again, of course, bearing in mind that actually it is very late for him. It's very late for Dean. We're here in our noon time, but for him it's already midnight. So I'm really grateful and thankful that he has actually agreed to be on this Facebook Live, even though he's, I think, sleepy.
No, I'm actually awake.
Working on stuff,
I'm awake now.
working on stuff and drinking too much coffee, right?
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for all the insights and all the interesting tips that you gave our audience. And for those of you that who want to know more about Dean, you can find him on LinkedIn, right? That's the best place. Or
Yep.
Or
Facebook or my email. Yeah.
Okay. Before we leave, I want to show something.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay. I want to show something.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. To share my screen. It's good. It's cute.
When she says cute, this isn't
okay,
good.
This is a picture of him that he sent me, right? I was supposed to use it somewhere, somehow, but I didn't quite get to doing that, right?
Yeah.
But there's another cuter one. So this is a picture that you wanted to put it somewhere also, or you wanted me
I gave it to you, but you never used it, so.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah.
I just wanted you to talk about this part about the cooking, right? This is something to do with you in the kitchen and cooking.
What do I talk?
I'm putting you on the spot now, right? I'm putting you on the spot now.
Yeah, I like cooking.
Okay, you like cooking. Anyway, he cooks and he puts them on Facebook, whatever that he has tried.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I just want to show this because you send these pictures to me to be used in some way or form. So I decided, well, since our audience is here, they might as well see you in a different role. There's someone in the kitchen cooking and all that. So he Dean was telling me that he has yet to visit Asia. So hopefully one of these days he will. And he will get to come around and probably when he does, meet some of you. Most of these people on the Facebook Live are my friends, and most of them are in services. So that's why a lot of these service questions are coming up. And that's where all your tips and your strategies and how you think about running ads, not just about the technical part of running ads, but really the psychology of thinking about how people will respond to the ads were very useful. So thank you very much. Let me just remove this. Let me just remove this. Okay.
Yeah, I joke if Gordon Ramsay was retired as a chef and became a digital marketer, if he was Asian, I'd probably be Gordon Ramsay.
Yes.
So I fit the bill. Like pretty honest, loves to cook.
Yeah.
Not foul-mouthed as Gordon Ramsay though.
Yeah.
Although I do curse every now and then. So.
But do you have an attitude like him?
I don't think I have that bit of an attitude like he does. I do. I think I sometimes have an attitude, but not as much of an attitude as he does.
Okay.
I'm a little bit nicer. I think
as we have experience on this Facebook Live. Yes, you are.
I try to be nice on this video for you.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much all of you for watching. This video we'll put it up on YouTube for those who are more on the YouTube side of things, but it will still be on our Facebook page. So we hope you would share it out to your friends, especially if you found this information useful, which I personally did. This is kind of, how should I say, when I asked Dean to talk about paid advertising, I come from the other side, which is the SEO side, not the SEM, the SEO side.
We're always fighting each other. Yeah.
Yeah, we're always on the extremes. But I enjoy listening to your perspective. So at least I learned something, I gained something that will be really helpful, not only for ourselves, but if in future someone asks me this question, hey, should I try paid advertising? I do know that I can relay some of your information to them, or they can, better still, they can watch this video, right? So thank you so much, everyone. We're a little bit over time. I think we're a couple of minutes, probably 5 minutes over time. But thank you so much once more. Remember to follow Dean on LinkedIn or Facebook and find him. He's connected to me on my Facebook page. And he's a super nice guy. Even though he says that he has an attitude, he doesn't really have an attitude. Okay, so thank you so much, and we will see you again. Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye bye.